Hey everyone, this Millennial Investor here with an update to my trading strategy because it's changed quite a bit in the last year or so since I've started this platform. So let's go ahead and get started. This is going to be the top 10 things I look for. The first is now I tend to look for notes that are A, B, and C. Anything D and lower, I avoid. And that's just because the notes that I've invested in the past that have been lower than D tend to have issues with payments more and tend to enter grace period or the late period more frequently. And that's to be expected. They are lower rated notes for a reason, but it's just really hard to pass off these ridiculous interest rates. But really easy to when you have all these issues with payments. Okay, number two is now I tend to invest in notes that have a credit score of at least 700. In the past, anything with a credit score 665 and up, which is pretty much everything on Lending Club, was fair game. But in my experience, you have more likelihood of payment if you have a higher credit score because you have more to lose. It has more to drop, and of course, you want to maintain that score. So 700 and above is what I look for. Number three, you must declare your profession with your notes. And when you declare it, like this is fine, nurse manager, you have to also spell it correctly, as you'd be surprised how many notes have a title that is not spelled correctly. I would prefer if it wasn't all capitalized, although it's fine if it is. And also, you cannot just say like NA. So I'm sure I won't find one at the moment, but you can't say NA for your job title. That is crucial. That helps me determine whether or not you are telling the truth, whether or not this is a sound note. So something like full-time staff, what exactly is full-time staff? I need a little more information. Okay, number four is that you have to be asking for an amount $10,000 or less. And that's just simply because if it's $10,000 or less, you seem to have a greater chance of paying it off. So that's something I look for. And if it's slightly over, I might give it to them if everything else looks great. Okay, number five is that what you're asking for, so let's say this note over here, $8,000, it has to be equivalent or less than your current revolving credit balance. So they're asking for 8,000, but they have a credit balance of over 12,000. So I just feel like if I invest in this note, I'm just helping accrue them more debt, and that's something I'm trying to avoid. So when I see that, I avoid the note. In addition, number six is that you have to be making more than $2,500. If you're making less than that, then I will just skip right by your note. So over here, they're making less. I'm sure they're a great worker and everything, but I have to avoid it just because you have a higher chance of paying it if you make more money. Okay, number seven, no public records, no collections. They both have to be zero. If there's even one, I will never invest in that note. Number eight is that you cannot have any delinquencies in the last 60 months. And that is just something I check off in the boxes over here every time I go to invest in a note. 60 months or more for months since last delinquency, and public records excluded. So, if it's 61 or this has 64, I would look at the whole picture here because it's really close and I might invest in this note. There's still a chance I won't. In fact, looking at this note right now, I wouldn't for the couple of reasons I mentioned. But yeah, just avoid those notes. Or that's what I do. I avoid those notes. Okay, number eight is that I am aware of the location. And three locations that I'm always looking for or trying to look out for are California, New York, and Hawaii. In my experience, notes from Hawaii seem to have more issues with payments. So I think that might be because there's a higher unemployment rate over there or something. But if it says Hawaii, that's kind of like a yellow red flag for me, and I tend to avoid that. If it says California or New York, then I'm just more aware because I know those places have a higher cost of living. So I want to see that you're making more money so that you can actually pay back the note and you're not just, accruing more debt. And then finally, number 10, the profession I feel matters a lot. And in my experience, if your profession happens to be something like a teacher, then I'm more likely to invest in your note. In fact, I've never actually had a teacher default on a note before. So that's something I actually look for. And this is actually a note I just invested in. Not a lot in terms of the interest rate, but they're a teacher. Their salary makes sense. They have a ridiculously good credit score. They're asking for 10,000, which is within that amount. They have a revolving balance that's less than that. They have a delinquency, but it's past 64 months. So this is like the perfect note for me. When I see this, I have a lot of confidence in it. So that's just something I invested in. Okay, so those are my top 10. Hopefully you found it useful. If you have any questions or if you have a strategy or if there's something you want to talk to me about, feel free to leave it in the comments below. But other than that, this is the Millennial Investor signing out. Peace.